0800 Yo fam, what's good, what's poppin'? Khalid here with another episode of WHTVRINNIT. It's a mad thing. Everyone knows I'm not a camera guy in it. I've never been one to have like a plethora of portraits. I've never one to, just ever be in the mix. You know what I'm saying? I've always just been like, but I think over time I've learned to be present, to stand up and represent myself. And if I want 0800 Yo fam to like go further, I feel like I need to be open, innit? I need to openly represent and be the face of the culture of 0800 Yo fam, because it does represent me, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was pretty hard to get to this point, I can't lie. It was pretty hard, but I'm here now, innit? I'm here now. It all started off with Khalid's Concave, or even before that with the Broadsheets little sketch. And then as time got on, I just thought, fuck it. The next frontier is to record a video version of the podcast. Because ultimately it's like, I can keep doing the audio and whatnot, but it's like the streams of the audio are probably not getting enough traction because there's nothing to keep people listening to it, if that makes sense, you know. Also, like, I was updating my blog all of the time, and then the hits weren't justifying the time spent creating those stories. So I thought, you know what, I've always had a dream to fuse everything I'd done into a multimedia format, which is done through blogging, through the podcast avenue, and also now through video. What's given me the confidence to start doing this on video is the fact that now I've got a Twitch channel and I'm streaming to Twitch. Who would have thought it? From someone who didn't tell anyone that they produce music and write and record and, do poetry and shit, to all of a sudden I'm doing Twitch streams. Twitch streams. So ultimately what you could expect from that is me and my Complete Control M32, and we'll be live in it. So the other night I done Machine Jam 001, and I made a track called Bubbling Crew inside, and it was like a UK garage pajama clad excursion because I was in my pajamas. That is sounding mad. That is sounding mad. That is sounding absolutely mad. Listen, I need to name this. What am I going to name? Let me listen to it again so I catch the vibe of what I'm going to name it. You get me? Bubbling Crew, insane. You know I gotta add them vocals, right? Jeez. And I used to use this. Sick. I used to use this, which is my machine controller. I got it in January 2010. When I upgraded my MacBook, and I went for a 16-inch MacBook Pro, right? Because I wanted to make the investment for the next 10 years, for example. I didn't realize that my sound card wouldn't work. That's my Focusrite Sapphire sound card. I didn't realize that it wouldn't work, and sadly I didn't realize that my Machine Mark 1 wouldn't work. So I was kind of lost in terms of making music for a while, because for me, like, the Machine, it made things so much more intuitive for me to get the ideas from here into here. And then several months later I bought the Complete Control M32, and to be honest, I didn't give it the respect that it naturally deserved. I always felt like I needed the Machine Mark III to propel my productions further, and stuff like that. But then when I was doing the stream the other night and I was using the keyboard, it's like I was still able to get my ideas out. Fair enough, like there's some features that I still need practice on and stuff like that, but I managed to get a perfectly great idea out using something other than the machine. So it made me rethink whether I need a Mark III. So I'm deliberating that decision still. So yeah, but anyway, back to it. So I created a Twitch and I'm gonna stream. So it will be streaming everything in relation to music production. Sometimes it might be other things as well. So the first one I created was Ableton edits, because I do loads of weird little edits in Ableton Live.
I need more acapellas, to be honest.
Because we are your friends.
I can get with that. Let's see if I cheat and warp from here. Let's see.
Your friends, you let me alone again. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Because
But anyway, that gave me the confidence to like start filming the podcast. So I was talking to my brother and he was like, yo, like find a way, why don't you find a way to do the podcast on video or stream like that? So you know what I'm saying? It's been a roller coaster few weeks. It's like every week I'm coming back with something and I'm upping the levels in a way as well. And it feels good. It feels like I'm making a lot of progress. You know, I'm utilizing my creative skills more and more, and I find that the more I do that is the more happier I am. You know what I'm saying? Like the conversation has shifted now to, you know, what am I doing to propel myself further? Like it goes back to what I wrote on Cogitation, like do something your future self will be thankful for. Are you making investments in equipment to achieve these things? Like say for instance, I started the stream the day I picked up a tripod and a light, for example, a tripod for the phone. Then I had to purchase an app that was compatible with OBS for the phone, and then I was able to run it that way. And I think the quality of the visuals and stuff gave me the confidence to be like, yo, yeah, why not? Why not do that? Why not share my cultural passions with everyone? Share my stories, you know what I'm saying? Because in the past few weeks, it's made me realize more than ever that ultimately no one can hold you back in life, innit? As long as you are yourself, you can succeed and achieve whatever you want to achieve, but you have to create life on your own terms. Things throughout this lockdown really made me reevaluate, you know what I'm saying? I started in a place where I was like, yeah, I got so much free time, oh my God. And then I couldn't create in that free time. Having an abundance of time when time stood still, I thought it's because I had too much time that I wasn't, you know, living or whatnot. Then I kind of jumped into work, done loads of that. Then I was doing a writing workshop that helped me break down how I feel about everything. So I reconnected with poetry again and I started writing, and then George Floyd happened with a string of other things happening which brought up a load of collective wounds as black people. And then it's almost as though someone dumped a truckload of red pill, reference to Matrix, into the water supply, and every person has woken up. White people have woken up to the injustices faced by black people. You know what I'm saying? And at first I was pessimistic, like, what do you mean? How have you never known like that, you know, this is a topic of conversation? How have you never known? Like, why? And then I thought to myself, to be honest, I need to get out of that space. And I need to get out of spaces where I keep sharing and bearing my soul, because it almost feels as though, it almost feels like it's voyeuristic. You know them ones, like I'm bearing my soul for onlookers, for little to no reward. And at first it felt good to be able to speak about it openly, because it was always cloak and dagger. Like, you know, you would always get that, oh, you're pulling the race card. Like, no, like racism is a thing. And I see racism and you're telling me I'm pulling a race card. And that will be the rebuttal, right? And you learn to live with it. But it's almost as I felt good finally being able to talk about it. And I'm speaking to other people as well. This isn't just in my immediate circle. This is happening globally with pockets of black groups worldwide. when you're inside these spaces predominantly made up and comprised of people who don't look like you nor care for your interests. So it's like everyone I know in different companies, in different places and spaces are having the same conversations. At first week it felt good, then you feel exhausted, and you feel exhausted because ultimately you're plugging the silence. So I decided I'm going to tune out of that. And when I say tune out, I don't mean totally lock it off and whatnot, but I had to understand, yeah, why every time I see a video of a black man being executed by the police, or the mistreatment of black people, or I feel a microaggression, why does it trigger me so much? Trigger me into an abyss. So I had to try to work out the why behind it. You know what I'm saying? Because black people across the globe, we've just been systematically and oppressed and violated. Whether you are an Aboriginal in Tasmania, where your whole people them got wiped out in the 1800s, or you're an Aboriginal on the mainland of Australia, who your whole people them have been oppressed and weren't recognised by the state as being human until around about 1960, and you still face the same systematic oppressors. You know what I'm saying? And oppressions. Or if you're someone in West Papua, for example, they're being mistreated the same. In America, fucking hell, mate, you had, you know, people getting whipped, slavery. There are people right now being lynched, and police forces and everyone else is marking it off as suicides. Yeah? All of this shit is happening. You know what I'm saying? In the UK, like, being subject to not so subtle forms of racism and racist rhetoric from politicians, radio presenters, being stereotypes and shit. Truly being told that you can't be yourself. Kids being kicked out of school because, you know, they might wear their hair out or have locks and shit. Like, that's the fuckeries that we're up against all day, every day. So I just had to kind of find out why this shit triggers me, innit? And that's the journey I've been on. I've been on a soul searching journey throughout it, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I find that I'm at a place now where I don't get triggered. I can't say I don't get triggered, but I know better. And I've been using an app called Sanvelo. It's a good app. I can't lie. It gives you meditation, gives you lessons to look things, and I've really been able to be in control of what I get triggered by. You know what I'm saying? And also I've started to follow my own advice, where, you know, I'm doubly being aware of what I consume now, and like being inside echo chambers of shit. Like, I choose as and when to be there. Also, not taking it upon myself to educate people, or getting frustrated when people do not understand still, because life is to be lived, innit? Remember, certain times, like, there's always a war on the psychology and the stability of your mental well-being, and I feel like I'm trying to look after self, you know what I'm saying? Trying to look and stabilize my mind. So that's why, you know, writing helps, or, you know, streaming via Twitch and getting creative with music helps. Reading helps. You know what I'm saying? Being still, exercising, spending time with my girl or whatever helps. But ultimately, like, a couple of things happened, and usually I'll be like, what? Are you mad? But I slowed it down, and I was like, you know what? It's nothing, innit? You ain't triggering me. Life is pretty smooth at the moment, and I feel it's because I was able to take the burden off of my shoulders. And I say this with great respect, the burden of the black experience. I was able to just, now I can breathe now, because man ain't fighting a silent battle anymore. Like, everyone's aware of the battle that we're fighting. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to just peel off the old wounds and shit, take off all of those bandages, destroy the Pandora's box that housed every single microaggression or racist comment or subtle racism that I'd ever faced. I was able to just, Don't get it twisted, the fight for liberation goes on. You know what I'm saying? It will always go on, and until, you know, states that are under apartheid are free, none of us are free. Till people stop being mistreated on the basis for what colour they are, none of us are free. Until people are mistreated or judged based upon their sexual orientation, preference, or how they wish to present themselves, none of us are free. So, you know what I'm saying? So we all have to do some soul searching there. We all have to be ourselves unapologetically, and that's our duty. We all have to treat our fellow humans, animals, and nature as they wish to be treated. I think I'm in a good place now, because as I said, I'm no longer carrying the burden of an invisible battle, innit? My throat is hurting from too much chatting. Yeah, man. Yeah. Shit, I'm flat out lost my energy. It's a mad thing. Do you know what? It's actually mad. I am on camera. That's actually mad. I was just a discreet guy. Where is KO and all of that? But certain times, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I owe it to myself and my vision for 0800 Yo Fam to start being more active. Just deal with the matter, innit? Because how are you gonna mash works if you don't do the things that, or that execute the ideas that you have? How are you really gonna mash works? It's a mad thing. 0800 Yo Fam, what's good, what's poppin'? Peace!
Yo fam, what's good, what's poppin'? Yo fam, what's good, what's poppin'? 0800 Yo fam, whatever innit? Yo fam, what's good, what's poppin'? Yo fam, what's good, what's poppin'? 0800 Yo fam, whatever innit?